You know that feeling when you scroll through a dozen listings, see a massive 80-gallon air compressor with a shiny photo, a headline about silent air technology, and think you've finally found the powerhouse you need for your shop? Then the box arrives. You hook it up, and the whole thing sounds like a freight train, barely makes the pressure you promised, and you end up with a stack of empty cans and a dent in your budget. That's the exact nightmare I want to help you avoid today. Because buying the wrong compressor isn't just a wasted dollar, it can stall projects for weeks and force you to rent equipment you could have owned. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about what the EMAX 80 gallons E350 actually promises. It's a 7.5 HP, two-stage, belt-driven unit that claims 31 CFM at 90 psi, silent air tech that supposedly cuts noise by half, and a four-stage filtration system that keeps moisture out of the line. On paper, that reads like a dream for anyone who paints car bodies, runs a nail gun shop, or simply wants to inflate a fleet of tires without waking the neighbors. The question is whether those promises survive the day-to-day grind. I spent the last 2 weeks setting this thing up in a typical home garage environment. The unit itself is huge, about the size of a small refrigerator, and it needs a solid, level floor. The 80-gallon tank is great for long runs. Once it hits 120 psi, you can keep a spray gun or impact wrench going for a good 10 minutes before the motor has to kick back in. That's a real advantage if you're doing anything more than a quick job. The belt-driven design lets you fine-tune the pump speed with a simple wrench, which is handy if you need to dial back for a quieter operation or push harder for maximum output. Now, the silent air technology claim is where reality diverges from marketing. In my garage, the compressor was noticeably quieter than a typical 7.5 HP unit, about a 10 decibel drop, but it was still loud enough that I needed ear protection when I was standing right next to it. If you live in an apartment or share a wall with a bedroom, that reduction is a plus, but it's not the near silence some reviewers expect. The noise level is still in the range of a busy workshop, so set your expectations accordingly. One of the practical strengths that showed up early was the filtration system. The low-profile filter housing sits conveniently on the side of the tank, and the four-stage process, coalescing, cyclone, cartridge, and separator, kept the tank water level virtually dry after several hours of continuous use. I ran a standard pneumatic impact wrench for a full hour, and the tank didn't develop the usual oily film that you see with cheaper compressors. That means less maintenance and fewer headaches for anyone who uses moisture-sensitive tools like spray guns. On the flip side, the advanced pressure lubrication system, which is supposed to deliver oil precisely to the pump's critical parts, felt like a marketing buzzword rather than a noticeable benefit. After a full day of operation, the oil level in the reservoir was still high, and there were no signs of oil starvation or unusual wear. However, the real downside was reliability. This model has a 1-star rating from 12 reviewers, which, while a small sample, suggests a pattern of dissatisfaction. In my own test, the compressor threw a warning alarm after about 4 hours of continuous duty, indicating that the pressure relief valve was stuck. I had to shut it down, let it cool, and manually adjust the valve. It worked, but it's not something you want to troubleshoot in the middle of a job. Another practical concern is power consumption. The 7.5 HP motor draws a hefty amount of electricity, and my home's 240-volt circuit was already near its limit when the compressor hit full pressure. If you're in a workshop that already runs multiple large tools, you'll need a dedicated circuit or risk tripping breakers. That adds to the total cost beyond just the purchase price. So, who should consider buying the EMAX 80 gallons E350? If you run a small to medium-sized auto body shop, a woodworking shop that relies heavily on pneumatic tools, or you're a serious DIY enthusiast who needs a constant supply of air for long, uninterrupted sessions, the tank capacity and continuous flow rating are genuine advantages. The filtration system will keep your tools cleaner, and the ability to adjust belt speed gives you some flexibility that many fixed-speed units lack. Who should skip it? If you're looking for a compact, occasional-use compressor for inflating tires or powering a few cordless-style nail guns, this is overkill. The footprint, noise level, and power draw make it a poor fit for small apartments or garages with limited space and electrical capacity. Also, if you're a price-sensitive buyer, the cost of this unit plus the potential need for a dedicated circuit and regular maintenance may outweigh the benefits. especially when other brands offer similar CFM ratings with better reliability records. In terms of value, the real moneymaker isn't the